So, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the final session of the second day of Charge Energy Branding Week. And we've got a real corker for you today. We're going to have a joint workshop between powercloud and Salesforce, and they're going to talk us through the future for retail energy. And it's going to be really exciting. They've also got special guests that they're going to interview from Saxon Energy, which are a municipal utility from Germany. And we're going to talk about our general experiences of kind of cloud-based solutions and how we can use those to empower innovation and empower the future of energy retail. So without any further delay, I'd like to welcome our main speakers, Marco and Kelly, to the stage. Marco, pleasure to see you, and Kelly as well. How are we doing today?
Great.
Thanks, Gareth. Great.
Perfect. So Marco's going to take the lead on this presentation to begin with, but everyone kind of stay tuned, listen in. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in on the right-hand side. And we're going to have an awful lot of fun over the next 45 minutes. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Gareth. Well, first of all, let me share my screen and welcome to the session, Future of Energy Retail. It's great to be here today. I'll give you some introduction about the company and what we are doing. My name is Marco Beicht. I was born in the Black Forest region in Germany, and I'm the founder and chief executive of powercloud. We as powercloud, we are the base and the backbone for digital utilities all over the world. And well, we help utilities with hot topics like decentralization, like green energy, and getting to a leaner way of running the business and saving costs. So that's really important for us. And at the end, our joint goal is to make customers happy and give customers that what they need and what makes you successful at the end. So I'm very happy today to announce my guest, Kelly James from Salesforce. And Kelly, would be cool if you can introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you, Marco. And thanks, everybody, for joining us here today. My name is Kelly James, and I'm the Vice President and General Manager for Energy and Utilities here at Salesforce. I'm coming to you today from Austin, Texas, which is my home here. And here at Salesforce and especially at Salesforce Industries, we are really working to help some of the largest companies in the world change the experience for their customers and change the experiences that they're providing for their employees and their stakeholders. And near and dear to me is those experiences for energy and utility companies around the world. We're working hard to help you all increase value, to optimize your cost to operate. To transform really how you're doing business in many ways with new business models on both the retail side as well as the operational side, and to really be able to delight customers with the kinds of experiences that they're looking for and that they expect. And right in line too with what Marco said before, as we move into a future that's all about carbon reduction, sustainability, and a clean energy future, we're here to help our customers to navigate that and to do their best for their organizations, their stakeholders, and for their customers there. I also wouldn't be a presentation with Salesforce in it if we didn't start with a thank you to our customers and our partners. So thank you to you all, and thank you to Marco.
Great, Kelly, thanks a lot. So welcome to our joint workshop. Today, what we like to do is we like to speak on our vision for utilities and how utilities can get truly digital. And what's even more important for us is, well, how can we help utilities to get more digital, to make a transformation, and how utilities can generate benefits for customers and for themselves, of course. I have some special guests today with me. It's Christian Bücher, Chief Information Officer, and Andreas Niklas, Chief Digital Officer from Saxon Energy. It's one of the biggest utilities, municipal utilities in Germany, and they are on a great journey to get fully digital. It will give you some insights in their project and what's happening. Later on, we'll have a Q&A session, so we are happy to answer your questions. And of course, some conclusions of the sessions that we want to give you on the way. So Kelly, would you be so kind to introduce a bit Salesforce Customer 360, Power and Utilities?
Sure, yeah, happy to. Just to give you a really brief overview here at the start before we kind of get into the workshop and get into our special guests. Here at Salesforce, we are deeply invested in industries across the board, and this includes energy and utilities. It includes our financial services and manufacturing. It includes our healthcare industries and many, many more. And what we do here, really specific to the energy sector, this crosses for us oil and gas, renewables, electric, gas, and water utilities, and for the entire sector, what we have seen over the 20 some years that we've been serving this sector is sort of constant slow change that has dramatically accelerated over the past few years with the convergence of many different pressures on the space and many different opportunities in this space. So business models are evolving and resulting in really hyper-focus for stakeholders across the value chain. And energy companies are really working to get ahead of the needs of their customers, of their communities that they serve, and to really provide entire platforms that support not just the businesses of today, but the way the business will operate into tomorrow, reimagining that kind of future state of energy. And that's what we're here to do here at Salesforce Industries, to support that changed and reimagined relationship with customers, employees, and stakeholders. And specifically, it means that we are building and creating applications specific for the energy and utilities market on the amazing sort of platform of cloud-based flexibility that is Salesforce across service, sales, experience, marketing, etc. And if you just briefly go to the next slide, Marco, really what that means is transforming what we have and then building deeply beyond that for this industry. And taking something like a traditional sort of sales cloud motion, but really transforming that with the work that we're doing into program, product, and services advisory around energy efficiency programs, commercial and industrial sales, and new revenue streams. Changing service to make that predictive utility service across contact center, field service, and asset-based service as well. Changing those communication methods with customers so that you can support any channel where they want to be at any time with deep insights driven by AI specific to their needs. And going kind of on. And a big part of that, which we're going to talk about today, is how we at Salesforce integrate to all of the systems that are part of driving that 360-degree view of your customer, your asset, your partner and stakeholders here. And a huge piece of that is deep information that historically has been, maybe locked in legacy systems, but we're working together with our partners to unlock and make work for you. So this is what we're doing at Salesforce Industries. We have hundreds of utilities around the world and here in the United States, across the globe, working with us on this. Marco, I think back to you.
Thanks a lot, Kelly. So while Salesforce is carrying on the front office, powercloud is more tied to the mid and back office processes. So what we did and what we started in 2012 is we created a platform to run things like metadata management, billing, payment, accounting, and all of the regulatory stuff. So basically, we bring the heart of the business to a cloud platform that is modern and open. And on that platform, we are also running an app store that enables third-party vendors, as well as customers and other partners out there, to create additional value and additional capabilities. We have about 80 apps specially built for utilities in our app store. And so whenever there's a new business idea, it's likely that you find some piece of software, an app that helps you to start a business. Might it be tenant electricity or electric vehicle charging, whatever it is. And on top of that, of course, we also take care of the most important things, like billing and managing your commodity contracts and non-commodity contracts. Commodities like electricity, gas, heat, water, wastewater, and broadband, and that all on that single platform. What is really important for us, and that makes a big difference to legacy systems, we do not want to make everything in our system, and it's not a closed shop. So it's really built in a way that you can choose any component you see here on the subway map and say, well, that's something for me. I like to use it. And you can use other functionalities in systems that are connected to powercloud or already have a connector in our app store. That said, let's move a bit to the main topics of our workshop today. And the most important topic, at least for me, is how can utilities become truly digital and overcome all of those emerging challenges you're facing at the moment. And as we like to keep it a bit interactive, I would like to ask you, which critical aspects do you see in the way of digital transformation?
Perfect. So as attendees, obviously, we welcome you to kind of put your responses in the right-hand side. But Marco and Kelly, I guess kind of I've got to be wondering, when we talk about true digital, what does that mean? And what does that mean from kind of a mindset point of view? Does it require a different mindset to be thinking true digital in 2021 versus how we thought true digital was in 2011?
Yeah, Marco, you want to start, or you want me to take a stab at that?
You can start. You're in the front of the customer. Please go ahead.
It's great. So of course, it evolves constantly. What we mean, because I mean, in maybe 2000, AI was a futuristic thing that we weren't entirely sure was going to be part of our lives, but it's part of our lives every day right now, whether we know it or not. And I think this true digital world is about connecting people to the information and the insights they need at the time that they need it, and maybe sometimes when they don't know they need it. And then on the operational side, Marco said it really well before with, we each have really open app exchanges of partners on our platforms that are allowing, that are bringing new things to the market all the time. And it's a time of like open partnership and integration and cooperation in the digital world. I think those are two things that come to mind immediately in the change of what digital means: this openness and this continued evolution of channels and insights on data. Marco?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm totally on the same page. In addition to that, of course, it's really important that we enable back-end and mid-office systems to support that, because the customer has more and more demands to your company, as well as renewables and things like electric vehicle charging bring in additional complexity to the business. And if we do not streamline that in a digital way, it gets really hard to maintain the customer relationship in the future. So that's something we have to take care of.
Yeah.
And just as a kind of a final lecture question to that, and maybe related to how we build these mindsets and cultures, is the language that we use around kind of data and cloud-based systems, is it simple enough, or is it too complex? And does there need to be a simplification or a standardization of the languages and terms used when we talk about the digitalization of our energy systems?
We do tend to use a bit of jargon and a bit of some words that maybe sometimes overcomplicate things. I mean, it's about connecting systems. It's about changing the nature of work. We don't need to overcomplicate in some ways, and a lot of the technology allows us actually to simplify, but we have to get over that first hurdle of maybe demystifying pieces of it.
Yeah, and then at the end, well, it's much about standardization in processes. So what we see when we look into legacy systems is very complex systems that were built up decades ago. And while they are hard to maintain, and bringing them back on a standard, and a standard where different utilities run the same processes that can be updated in a simplified way, that helps them to get day by day new capabilities. And then it makes it easier to understand why cloud is so effective.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Yeah. And I was talking to a company this morning as well, and a global energy company who has transformed the way they're actually organizing their entire teams. This gets back to your question of simplicity and structure, actually, and language even. They've actually gone so full scale agile now that they they have completely shuffled management. So they actually have marketing leaders leading parts of what would historically have been considered information systems and things. So the barriers of the edges here start to break down, and we can manage from the point of view of our key customer and stakeholder and rally around them in new ways. And that gets to some of the culture change too.
Perfect. Well, thank you both. I know I'll let you guys get on. I know we are starting to get some questions in. I'll save them for the next segment. But yeah, I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thanks, Gary.
So Kelly, happy to hand over to you.
Yeah, great. I mean, maybe I'll start with a conversation about a little bit of the United States and pepper in some things from a global view as well. But we're seeing a number of different trends, a number of different pressures and changes in the market converge, which are impacting energy and utilities companies. Some we have companies leading in and driving, and some companies are having to be a little bit more reactive to these. But one of those key things in particular at the heart of this change is really the changing expectations and the changing relationships that customers want to have with their, I don't even want to say necessarily utility, because we continue to earn that right, but with their energy use, with the way that they interact with their with energy and with the things in their life that use energy. And so it's always a balance of either business drivers on the business side or personal drivers, whether they be comfort versus cost and versus other needs on the personal side. So this customer self-service and putting the customer at the core it continues to be one of the things that we've seen over quite a while. And really in North America, with the changing regulations ongoing and with varying levels of competition, in some places quite different than the models that we have in Europe. There are different deep regulatory requirements that we deal with, but also the entire sector continues to be changed and disrupted by trends coming from the US and around the world, across sustainable energy, across new technologies that bring opportunity into the space. We talk a lot about storage and electric vehicles, PV, all of these different things, and then also customer desire for direct participation in these markets, which I think we're slowly building out here. But I basically, you have, whether or not you have competitive customer choice, you have emergent customer choice in many ways that utilities are contending with in general, and sometimes taking great advantage of, and becoming that core advisor to their customers around customer choice or around the future of renewables, and in other cases are struggling at times. So we've also kind of covered a little bit on renewables, just maybe a couple more points here. Lower cost storage, shifting demand to renewables, as well as really important targets that have put up by many of the companies who are here on the conversation today and around the world, really, that are going to drive behaviors. And some of those we know have been put up as visionary targets without an action plan behind them. And this is going to kind of really impact all of our people, processes, systems going forward. That continued increase in digitization technologies, the need to be agile and the need to adapt as we go through these transitions. And then spoke briefly about the self-sustaining communities a minute ago, but essentially you have self-generation, you have distributed energy resources, and then the ability to truly participate in markets being more and more prevalent. And then I mentioned before, I live in Texas, with the event that we had just not a month ago, really, a lot of discussion, a lot of continued, movement to different ways of using distributed energy resources and resiliency across the system. So a lot of action in the industry and a lot of discussion of what's next as well. These are some of the key things that we see here. And many of these were reflected around the world, where in some places outside of the US, where some places they've moved very quickly, even ahead of where we are, and in other places where other countries where they're even lagging behind. So we really see a mix here, where I said at Salesforce, of all of these things impacting all of our customers to different degrees, depending on the regulatory structure and the type of business that they operate and where they are.
Totally agree with that, Kelly. We see the same around the globe. Some countries, we are really far progress with digital channels, and especially with renewables and all that stuff that comes together with the rising quota of renewables. But other ones are a bit behind, but I guess it's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
That brings me to the next question. So what are the characteristics that an incumbent must consider tomorrow? That's something we like to ask you when you sign up to a new vendor for your front, mid, and back office system. What capabilities and functionalities are really important for you, and what makes a future-proof system different from a legacy system?
Okay. So just to recap, what we'd like you to do is we'd like you to put your responses on the right-hand side. What do you feel a future-proof system really needs to have? And what is essential and what is nice to have would be really interesting for us to look at later. But while you guys are doing that in the chat on the right-hand side, I guess I'm interested in just a few areas. We hear an awful lot, especially over the last few years, about the cloud this, cloud that, cloud everything else. But what's the benefits that cloud-based systems add, really? Are they operational benefits? Are they financial benefits? Are they agility benefits? Could you just walk us through that really quickly?
Yeah, Marco, you want to go first? Yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay, I can go first.
Check from me, but yeah, go first. Yes.
Okay, so, well, cloud is a bit on everything what you said. So first of all, cloud brings you processes that are usable out of the box. And those processes are not reinvented, but they are used with many utilities out there. And they are already scaled and proven. And, something like best in breed. And this makes it quite fast. On the other hand, if you use such processes and we bring all the knowledge together, of course, these ones are also more efficient and they help to save costs at the end in the daily operations. And having those pre-built systems in places, there's no need to build up own capabilities in more and more expensive projects with less and less available people that can do those projects. And that makes you more agile. So it's a bit of all of that.
Sure.
Kelly, do you like to add something to this?
I agree completely. The processes are part of it. The way that we manage upgrades, but sometimes it takes a little while to get folks to get their head around, when really, like, genuinely, you don't schedule upgrade projects. You schedule new plans to do more things for the business. I mean, it's an entire mind shift. And yeah, I'd say I'd go back to the agility, the operational cost management, the ability to plan and kind of to allow IT groups to be, enablers of the business, not sort of just always trying to play catch up.
Or firefighting.
Yeah. We were, and both of our companies were born in the cloud, so it's sort of all we know right now. So we sometimes forget to really honestly articulate kind of some of the benefits across the board. I think we need to make sure that we continue to do that clearly for our customers who haven't made the move yet.
For sure. And I guess kind of one of the benefits of kind of cloud is that, by having this stuff not in-house, you don't necessarily, and you've kind of touched on it as well, you don't have to worry about those upgrades yourself. You don't have to worry about necessarily having a really in-depth technical understanding of what that works, of how things work. And I guess that can help with the integration of many different teams and many different processes all into these cloud-based solutions. Would that be the right kind of message there, that it allows for those teams to very quickly get the benefits without necessarily having to, get doctorates in how all of this stuff works?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, sorry, Marco.
Sorry.
I'd say it's not to say that there's not work. of course, there's work, but as Marco well laid out, that what the goal here is that we've created collectively many of the processes that are needed. We've simplified and demystified many of the integrations that are needed, and the idea is to to enable you as a business to make the right moves, and to be able to both implement quickly, get value quickly, but then go from the point where you are now into 5 years from now and have everything you need to respond and to plan and to be ahead of what is coming, what we know today and what we don't know today. That's the goal.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Final kind of add on to that is, obviously you'll be onboarding customers at very different sizes, whether they're German municipal utilities or large American utilities or small agile retailers. And I guess kind of how on earth do you manage kind of taking people through the process? When you've got one customer of one size who's crawling, one that's running, one that's walking, one that's got no idea what's going on and onboarding. That's got to be quite a stressful process for you guys, or do you feel like you've got a good systems and processes on to help people through that educational journey and provide the right level of support to the right business so that you're agile in terms of the level of support that you're offering?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we as Salesforce, we deal with businesses of all shapes and sizes, and I think that what you're asking is really like, how can we be the right type of advisor to the companies that we're working with for the stage of the maturity level, the stage of evolution that they're in, and for their business goals and their priorities. And it's something that we strive to meet and exceed that bar every day. So we have folks that are doing entire end-to-end business transformations in major utilities serving 10 million plus customers. But we do have other folks that are starting. They're starting here. They're starting with vegetation management. They're starting with a pocket of programs for commercial and industrial customers and energy efficiency. Or they're starting with just trying to bring one or two new products to market for their customer base to see if they can kind of invent some new ways of working. So yeah, we work with folks where they are and with the goals that they're trying to meet.
And as a final point, just before I kind of let you guys continue, I guess kind of what do you think that future-proof system looks like? Is there a set vision that you think, okay, once we've hit these KPIs or the system looks like this, we've hit it? Or is it going to be a constantly evolving process? And if so, how close are you to the ideal that you see your customers needing right now?
Well, it's day by day hard work to bring all aspects together in a software that really reflects what our customers need. And at the end, that's the wish of the end customers. So it's an important thing for us to listen to our customers, have daily conversations, and make those processes running smooth and lean. Because only if we succeed in that, we can have a sustainable platform. And that's exactly our business goal, to have that in place.
Cool. Perfect. Well, crack on, guys. I've got another couple of questions that I'm going to ask you later, but thanks so much.
Thanks. Well, just to pick up some of those important things every incumbent has to consider when choosing a new platform for new business or for existing business. And let me take some of those points, which is, from my point of view, the very most important of that is open and flexibility in architecture, so that you can bring really things together and all of your legacy system in a combination with the new cloud systems, in combination with any other new cloud systems, to really enable your business to test new ideas on the market, and if they're successful, grow them. It's really important from my point of view to have an individual pricing capability, which brings not only customer individual prices, but also prices in relation to specific consumption scenarios out there, and maybe the availability of renewable energy and things like that. For me and my point of view, it's also really important to have a system in place that scales with your demand. So if you have processes in place that need more performance, there has to be an automatic cloud scaling available, and do the task and then get smaller again. And really important for me too is at the end, a software vendor and a cloud provider has to provide upgrades without a large price tag. So if there's some new regulation on the market, if there's some new trend on the market, it's really important that you can be part of it without running a large project and losing much time, so that you can ever be on top of your competition. Kali, what do you think? What's important from your point of view?
You picked out some good ones, and this is quite a list. I'll actually build on one that you partially mentioned. I think this all-in-one billing for product bundles, or also even extending that to customer-friendly offers. I mean, some of us are operating in markets where we don't have a lot of flexibility on certain parts of rates and tariffs and pricing, but we do have more of an ability to take all of the programs, the customer programs that we offer, and to kind of create a personalized bundle, if you will, an experience for a customer based on what you know about them and based on what they need. And I think even in highly, regulated markets where you're limited on certain aspects of choice, you can create an experience that wraps in more of the business units that you work with across programs and efficiency and rates and products, et cetera. And some of those will have billing and rebate components. So I just picking up on that one of how to create a different experience, even in a limited, maybe a limited rule regulatory environment. Just picking off a couple others, because I know we'd like to get to introducing our guests here shortly. Just that open integration with all of the different systems. We know that we are not the only system that you're operating in, and you have a big world of things, both internal to your organization and external to your organization. And so the ability to have robust integration and data management strategies while open integration and making that as simple as it can be with guidance is really helpful and really important. And that thriving ecosystem that helps support that. Yeah, I think we've covered a lot of the other ones that I would have picked out.
Kelly, I wonder, how can we help utilities to transform? Because that's a big question I get asked nearly every day.
Yeah, so many aspects of that too, and so many definitions of transform. That might be one of those words that we need to kind of bring back down to earth and say, well, what do you mean by transforming? But really, I think the combination of these platforms is transformative. It's transformative in the way that you're able to then deal with all the parties that we've talked about, employees, partners, stakeholders, folks that are facing customers, and folks that are working in your business around, assets as well. But also this, it's not just about the change in relationship. It's about a different model of working. It's about a robust, kind of higher value, lower cost to serve technology stack that brings together kind of the best of the things that, modern cloud platforms have to offer. With this black box here that you're showing in the middle, I think is that key to get over your concern, the risk hurdles, or the perceived risk hurdles of concerns about the idea of moving to a more modern platform. And so what we've done is we've really looked at addressing those questions that folks have in this architecture that brings together the best of sort of systems, these that are here and those that we also know you have are coming from third parties. And it is about having in place some really important fundamentals around key platforms, own business, governance, data integration standards, and then being able to deliver value faster. Those are some things, it's the technology and a little bit of the mind shift. What about you, Marco? What's top of mind in transformation for you?
Well, at the end, it's all about the customer. Also in the billing, ecosystem in the billing space, so backend systems, there's a big necessity to also make a focus on the customer relationship. And in Europe, powercloud is the fastest growing and the outperforming platform to do the mid and back office processes, especially for those things like billing, accounting, and regulatory management. And we help utilities to be future-proof for that, what happens tomorrow. And today we manage about 8 million contracts in our system with less than 7 minutes of downtime in 2019. So that's quite a cool thing. And we have more than 20 million additional contracts in migration from legacy systems today. And what we can do for utilities is not only helping with taking care on that, what your customer likes and getting more customer centric, but we have also proven in many projects that we can go down with cost to serve on less than $12. And that's a significant value. Where we are really cutting edge. And we do that with optimization, with heavy usage of AI, but also with getting IT costs and IT projects to a new level in agility, speed, and of course also in the way how it works day by day.
Yeah, it's about that game changing. I'm going to avoid the big word transformation for a minute, but game changing, simplifying our language, game changing agility, game changing reduction in cost to serve, and game changing experiences to the users of the platform, your customers directly, but also those employees that support the customers and everybody involved. Yeah. Yeah.
So what kind of benefits can utility expect? And I will be a bit quicker on that slide, as I want our customer, SachsenEnergie, to say something, how projects run and what are their strategy and things that are really, really important for you. So big topic is when you go to a cloud provider, you should be able to expect a minimal migration risk. You should expect that there's a short time to market. And of course, you should expect that on the cloud provider side, there's really market expertise available and that a system is able to scale. Now let's hand over to Christian from Saxon Energy. And it would be great if you can introduce yourself and your project, Christian.
Thank you so much, Marco. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. It's a great honor. As a customer, as Saxon Energy, my name is Christian Büchner, and I'm the CIO of Saxon Energy since 2019. And when I started in 2019, Saxon Energy was still 2 companies. Being the CIO of both, I had the task to reorganize in total 4 different IT companies into one strong IT unit for the whole group. And having 600,000 customers and roughly 3 billion of revenue, we faced moving forward 3 main problems. First problem was, to be honest, we were a total SAP shop. So we had an SAP landscape, we had SAP skills, we had a team that was working only with non-differentiating and non-competitive activities. We have a strong regulation in Germany, which is constantly changing, and we was to develop even all changes of the regulation all the time, and we were totally not focused on the customer side. Third problem, you may know, SAP decommissioning their systems, the SAP Business Suite, in 2027. And when I joined, I deeply looked into the organization, what the company's response to this developments, and in total, there was none. There was no response. There was no plan how to act with this and how to move forward. And I asked a lot of people in this organization, and they said, the IT has always stick to SAP, and they will always stick to SAP, and they will also this time decide for SAP as well. And I personally think that having made a decision in the past does not make it right in the future. So we started an architecture project in 2020. which we were not discussing IT tools at first. We are discussing the business side, the strategically relevant business capabilities of our business departments in 2025, so that we as a IT knew what tool we are looking for and what it should perform. And in this context, 4 months after starting, we chose powercloud as our mailing system because we are convinced that powercloud is a modern architecture, and it enables us to have a huge speed and time to market. And I think this is one of the main reasons we chose powercloud. It fits perfectly in our idea of a modern agile architecture, and we are very happy having chosen powercloud in 2020 and having introduced it in 2021. What we also did to get digital and to manage actively the digital transformation of the company was to hire a chief digital officer, and I think this is the perfect time to hand over to Andreas.
Yeah, so Andreas speaking. Thank you very much for having me as well at your event. I'm the CDO of Saxon Energy, and I would like to share some insights into the current development. Our initial plan was to build up our own experience with the new technological possibilities, with the new architecture, to gain experience with a service-oriented architecture, with the goal of making better decisions. And we wanted to work on it on a small scale, experimenting and developing a robust implementation plan. And yeah, with actually that experience. During the hot phase of our merging process, our CEO had a, let's say, slightly better idea. Why not conducting a pilot in the real world? He offered us a scenario where we were able to, let's say, to start in the real world, to start with real world customers, and without mission scenario, and with that supporting actually the start of the Saxon Energy, starting in November last year, and within only 9 weeks of that work, we were able to implement our powercloud MVP, and we were able to create our first customers on the platform. In the coming months, we are going to be able to implement new functionalities, new capabilities of the powercloud. We are going to implement Salesforce CRM and implement an integration solution, and we are going to evolve very, very close to the needs of our customers. And yeah, actually, we are very proud, to be honest, that within only a year, during Corona, during the hot phase of our merging process, we managed to go from the kickoff of the architecture project Christian just mentioned, to welcoming the first customers on the architecture in, as I said, only 9 weeks of network. This was, from our perspective, only possible because we stayed on focus. We had very, very close and intense exchange with powercloud and Salesforce. We had good and professional and fair license negotiations, and we found a very, very pragmatic way of working very, very quickly. So from our side, many, many thanks at this point to all people were involved in this process.
Thanks, Christian and Andreas from Saxon Energy. Thanks for the great insights in the project. We're getting at the end of the slot. We are very pleased to take some questions and provide answers. And at the end, I also want to give you some information. There's a white paper in the exhibit hall on all of the cool things you can do with powercloud and Salesforce together.
I'll add my congratulations to the team, to Christian and Andreas for the hard work that they've done, for the success so far, and for ongoing success of the project. Yeah. Good. Do we have some questions that are coming in as well? Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Bo. Obviously, that was I appreciate you had to talk at a mile a minute, and you managed to actually hit the time right on the nose. That's absolutely perfect. But we're in no rush. In terms of Q&A, we've got a couple of things to go through, and there's one thing that I'm really interested in actually. It's about kind of, we've been talking a lot through this session about the benefits of kind of moving to a cloud-based systems or cloud-based architectures, and that's about taking some of those processes and automations outside of a business. But I'm guessing what I'm interested in is how does doing that free up or empower a lot of the human touch points in which our industry is so reliant. So whether that's in call centers, whether that's in marketing handling, whether it's in the work that we do with brokers. Could you maybe comment on the relationship between the innovations that you're working on and how they empower those very, very important human touch points?
Yeah. Marco, would you like me to go ahead to start?
Please start.
He's being chivalrous. He's being chivalrous. It changes the nature of some of the work, I'd say, because what we see in the handling of many of the customer questions, I'll start on the residential side of the house, and then I'll kind of shift to business. But what we see is that many of the things that historically folks might have had a conversation with the utility about are no longer handled in that way. They're handled by either conversational AI, they're handled by self-service, they're handled, by Alexa, right? They're handled by all of these things that are the ways that customers want to interact while they're doing 10 other things. But to say the impact on the humans involved is that they now have a couple of other things, that folks are monitoring the relationship that bots are having with their customers and acting on that and changing processes. And also the actual folks that are speaking with the customers are having a deeper and different kind of conversation. So we have to let those guys have the tools that they need to give, more complicated and personalized advice about electric vehicle purchasing and charging and how that works at home and in a mobile world and different options around that. And on the business side, it gives that great opportunity too for the humans involved to be more deeper and highly educated advisors in what the choices are that, we're all standing here talking about sustainability and move to zero carbon. So are the business customers of utilities, right? And so we're in a great spot to be able to, provide advice. And it's not just how do you reduce your bill or properly manage your water use, your energy use, your gas, etc. But it's actually like, how can I meet the goals that I've publicly stated that I will to my customers, and how can I kind of manage this in a different way, and what's my ROI over 10 years of investments in different kinds of efficiency measures or distributed energy resources, and how can you participate with me in that? So it changes the folks involved are doing different work, right?
Absolutely. And I guess another important thing is it's now possible to manage those processes in the back office we like to sell in the front office. Because not a few utilities have the issues that have great ideas and they want to launch a new product, a new service, and do something. And quite comparably easy for them to run the front office process to get things sold. But then it comes to very old-fashioned legacy billing systems and regulatory management systems, and they just have no possibility to implement that capabilities. So all the good ideas we have in the sector and in the market sometimes get heavily pushed back by those legacy systems out there. And that's something that was ended, at least in Europe, with powercloud, and now it's getting ended around the globe.
That it's so true, Marco, because you can change an experience for a customer, and it can bottleneck very quickly at an employee, right? So you can have an apparently transformative customer experience that can hit pretty quickly if you don't have the ability to make that same kind of change in your middle and back office.
Yeah.
Perfect. Marco, just while we've got you here, I guess kind of, obviously if people want to kind of learn more about powercloud and more what you're about, obviously we have our exhibition booth and there's quite a few white papers in there. And obviously they can contact you through there, contact your team through there, and find out an awful lot more about the good work and case studies that you've been doing. But before we kind of finish the session, I'm interested to know kind of from both of you. I just guess I'm wondering, what kind of trends do you see about the future of utilities or maybe deregulated retailers in the US? What do you feel the future deregulated utility looks like in 2-3 years time, 5 years time? How is it going to be different, do you think? What trends are you seeing?
Well, what we see is that utilities add more and more products to their portfolio, and especially things that are, well, for prosumers, like integrating smart home to the grid or having those electric vehicles out there attached to charging stations. These are trends that will come. There's no chance that they get stopped, and utilities have prepared for that. So that's something we see.
Yeah, agree completely, and add, I think the role of partnerships becomes, more and more important. So I think we see a big shift in ecosystems of companies, with partnerships with a number of different companies, as well as with their customers. And then if I know the question was about retail energy, but I think the face of regulated supply in the retail end of IOUs and municipalities starts to look a little bit more like the way some of the retailers operate, even within the constraints of the regulations. And so, we have many companies that we're talking to about the types of offerings and changing kind of the way they bundle things for their customers that sound a lot more like a competitive retailer does.
Perfect. Thank you. And then I guess kind of you mentioned kind of there a little bit touching upon that, the partnerships, how important they are. And I guess kind of the partnership between PowerCloud and Salesforce is really interesting. So could you kind of describe a little bit more about how that came together and why it is that the partnership between Salesforce and PowerCloud works so well at the moment?
Well, at the end, it's a perfect match. So you have the best system in the front office, taking care on all of marketing, sales, and customer satisfaction, things like that. And on the other side, you have the billing system or regulatory management system that enables and fulfills what the utility sold in the front office and what he likes to offer to the customers. So if you bring both together, you have new possibilities and power to make your customer happy. I guess that it is at the end.
Yeah. Well,
Kelly smiles a bit.
I'm laughing just because it came together with this guy in this yellow shirt, and we met at this conference. It was a great. So, but no, I second what Marco said. I think it's a great marriage of technologies that's having some real impact on some customers around the world right now. And you'll never see Marco out of a yellow shirt, and if you do, let me know. But maybe the blue and yellow look good together. So.
I guess kind of interesting point for obviously this is Charge Energy Branding Week North America, and we 90% of our audience is going to be American utilities from the regulated, deregulated markets and retailers as well, lots of power producers. And I guess kind of if they were to work with PowerCloud, are you guys available in the US right now? Are you working in the US, or what's the roadmap to get there? And how do you feel that your US experiences, not your US experiences, but your European experiences will help you kind of accelerate to the level of performance that you're providing in Europe already?
Yeah, we are on the way to the US market, and in June you will see a lot of acceleration there. So that's the way how we are proceeding. We think there's a great momentum to go to the US market because the competition in the utility landscape in Europe is a lot of higher. So there are thousands of providers in the different countries. And we have a really high quota of renewables. In Germany, it's 46%, for example. And so we have solutions in the basket for issues that will appear in the next years. And this will bring really value to the table and to the country and help utilities to be fast and adapting to things that that happen. And I'm not sure if you know, Kerr, but 45% of powercloud is owned by US private equity companies. So we are a bit US already.
Gotcha. Perfect. I was going to ask actually, I mean, how obviously I've been looking through kind of the white papers and materials that you guys have provided in the booth, and I certainly advise everyone else to do so. And obviously you guys have also got a 15-minute segment, I believe tomorrow, during our main schedule as well. But I'm interested in, how do you fuel such an aggressive expansion into the US and ensure that it's a success? Is it reliant on the partnership? Is it reliant on your kind of your previous experiences? Is it reliant on other backers? How do you fuel such an expansion?
It's everything you said. So we have great global system integrators out there that run projects together, and together also with powercloud and Salesforce, which makes it quite easier to adapt. We have the local market experience in place, so that helps us to know what has to be done to be really efficient on the market. And then we can bring the experience of different countries in Europe, but also around the globe, together in a platform that really makes the change and really drives the change. And if you combine that together with Salesforce, well, you have best in class for front, mid, and back office. I guess that's a winning combination.
Well, thank you very much, both of you, for your time. I think this has been a really interesting workshop, and I know we've gone over time, but hopefully for those who are watching live and for those of you who are watching on demand, because we know so many of you will be slightly later today, I hope this has been really valuable for you. And obviously, do make sure that you follow powercloud in their booth or with their staff on the one-to-one networker. The reason I think that this workshop's been so interesting is because over the last 2 days, we've really been trying to challenge people to think differently and do differently around how they understand the building of their brand, their marketing, their operations, and their whole business towards growth. And what we've had today is we've been talking around solutions and architectures to actually support that growth. So it's been really interesting. I can definitely see the impact for increased efficiencies and optimizations, both in marketing, operations, and the wider business. So it's been really fascinating to listen to you both. I hope people do definitely watch the session again. Take note, tune into the extra 15-minute segment that they've got tomorrow. And thank you all so much for another successful day of Charge Energy Branding Week North America. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. And thank you, Marco.
Thanks, Kelly and Kerr.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Marco. Good night, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.
powercloud is the leading cloud SaaS platform for mid and back office processes in the energy industry. Billing, market communication, payment and accounting, as well as MDM, EDM are just some of the core capabilities in the powercloud offering. Enhanced by over 80 own and partner-generated Power Apps that provide augmented digital processes and automation for energy suppliers such as electric vehicle charging, e-payments, tenant energy management, and loyalty programs. Electricity, gas, water, sewage, heat, e-mobility, and non-commodity are all supported